stunning surveillance video shows dozens of people ransacking a Bellflower liquor store while a street takeover rages outside. No one has been arrested in connection with that burglary early Saturday morning. KTLA's Sarah Welch is live in Bellflower with more on the weekend chaos. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Lauren, good afternoon. Yeah, truly incredible video. Dozens of people storming into the store. Take a look. It's unbelievable to watch. Thieves used a tool to cut through the locks. Once inside, it just doesn't stop. People one after the other. The store owners say more than 50 people broke in, stealing, breaking, and destroying the merchandise. It all happened early Saturday morning as yet another street takeover was happening at the nearby intersection at Bellflower and Somerset. Estimates
crazy, man. Really crazy. I want y'all to really hear me out with what I'm about to say, because some people may take it the wrong way, right? But I think that this needs to be said, because I want to challenge people's thoughts when I say certain things. I don't just want to say the common thing. Oh my God, all these people need to be locked up right now. These are bad people. I'm not gonna go there with it, man. Everybody's gonna go there. Well, the majority of people, but I'm not, because I like to see things from both sides and have an understanding on both sides, because my goal is always to come together at the end of the day, right? So I would never say that this is right. In fact, it is completely wrong, but I asked this question right here. Where do you think a lot of this stuff come from in these neighborhoods? Why do you think people are doing this in these neighborhoods? Most of the time, if people are going to steal food and products and stuff like that, people are hungry and people are going to eat in some type of way. If they don't have opportunities, they're going to go try to steal things to create opportunities. If they don't have money for food, they're going to go and try to steal what they got to steal to put food on the table. I think it's important to also look at that side as well. Why are people in this community going to do this at this store? Because the way we like to look at things, I get it. The normal way is we need to lock them all up and that's it. But never looking at the underlying problem. There's an underlying problem and an underlying issue going on. Why are they going to this particular store? Why there is no level of communication and, relationship building going on in this community, where there's somebody in this neighborhood who is there saying, hey, we're not going to do this over here. These are good people. We work together. They help us. Let's help them out too and not do stuff like this there. I'm just asking the tough questions, man. That's all I'm saying. Let's not just all just focus on the logical, question and answer. And I'm a very logical person. A lot of times I could be very black and white. But I think when it comes down to situations like this, where it's a lot of people that are involved on both sides, we have to see both sides. And maybe even have an understanding for both sides. Not taking away the consequence or the responsibility that should be at hand, but at least an understanding. That's all I'm saying. Let's get back to it.
There were 100 to 150 vehicles stopped in the roadway. The sheriff's department responded, says the thieves were in and out of the store fast and then began blending into the street takeover crowd.
Honestly, I just can't get the image out of my head. Just 50 people in my business, ransacking the place, destroying the business, taking everything that I've worked so hard for and we've worked so hard for, me, my dad and my brother. I'm just so out of words that this situation actually happened. Please don't do this to anyone else. Please don't. It really hurts as business owners, as a family business. It really hurts.
I mean, like I said, man, this is really messed up. It is messed up. Really quick, please like and comment on this video. I would really appreciate it. And also, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. You know, I'm on a quest, man, to lead others to Christ. And that's what this channel do, right? And if you like that journey and you want to be a part of that journey as well, hey, like I said, come and subscribe. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, man, and let's build together. You know what I'm saying? But look, it's messed up what's going on. It really is. But to be honest, this road is messed up. We are all figuring out the best way to live in it with each other. You know, when you have businesses in the community, try to find ways to integrate the business into the community more, you know. So next time you have the community backing you up and telling people, don't touch that store over there. I'm just saying, you know, I'm just keeping it real. You know, you have to involve people. You have to work with people. You know, you don't just go into a community and make it about money, because that never works. It never do. That's why I'm big on having a deeper understanding when these things happen. Because, okay, what do you want me to say? Okay, we're looking at this video and say, oh my God, you know what? Let's zoom in the camera. We got to figure out a way to lock all those people up right now today. This is absolutely terrible. Let's make sure these people get locked up. Is that the type of video y'all want me to do? Or y'all want me to keep it 100? You know, people come here to watch this channel for a reason. Because I don't say the typical thing that most people say. Because I like to look deeper. I like to look at the heart. You know, that's what my faith teach me, right? So I want to understand, why would people risk their lives to do something like this? Why? There's an underlying issue. There's an underlying problem. Knowing the surveillance tapes, knowing that you could go to jail, why would you risk your life? A lack of opportunities. Maybe you don't have much going on in their lives. Maybe you don't know how to go out there and make something happen. Maybe you don't have relationships with the businesses, because a lot of times people come from different places into these communities and start these businesses for communities in races that they're not even. You know, you have most of the business in Black communities are ran by, you know, Asians, you know, Egyptians, Armenians. And these communities are filled with Black and Hispanics. I'm just saying, like, there's a lack of communication going on. So I like to look at the deeper side of things, man, and focus on that.
Damage estimated at about $30,000. The family together worked all weekend to get the store back open. The sheriff's department says several citations were issued for the street takeover, but so far there have been no arrests in the burglary. If you can help, you can call 1-800-222-TIPS.
Look, man, no matter what, if you are a part of committing this crime or any crime, you should have to face consequences, you know, for your actions. You know, that's a fact. You know, this is never right. And I hope people, you know, who are responsible are held accountable. You know, being broke doesn't, you know, give you permission to steal. Being angry doesn't give you permission to destroy somebody else's livelihood. It doesn't. You know, somebody may have put their entire life savings into that business. I get that, you know, so, you know, let's stop acting like because it's a store, nobody gets hurt. Somebody gets hurt, you know, but the part I want to focus on is bigger than that, right? The real problem is we as people don't know how to collaborate with each other. And that's a fact. We don't know how to communicate with each other, you know, and when you implement yourself in an environment where there are a lot of people you don't know, you have to build relationships with people, man. You know, especially if you want their business, right? You know, it would be the same thing in any other country, man. I can't go to Mexico or China right now and start a business my way. You know, have no communication with nobody, you know, just go and let me try to make money. No, you know, build no relationships and then expect everybody to automatically embrace me. You know, I have to integrate myself, man. Know the neighborhood, know the people. Employ the people who live in the neighborhood. Support the community organizations. Talk to people. Become more than the place everybody walks into, and walks into, gives their money to, and then walks back out of, because I'm now a part of their community. Now let me be clear, because somebody will purposely misunderstand me. A lot of times they do. That still doesn't justify stealing from that business. Wrong is wrong. Exodus 20:15 says, you shall not steal. God didn't put an asterisk under it saying, unless you're struggling and that store got some Jordans you like. You know what I'm saying? No, you shall not steal. But scripture also tells us in Philippians 2:4 not to look only to our own interests, but also to the interest of others. That's both sides. Business owners should care about the communities they profit from, and communities should care enough about their neighborhoods to protect the people that are building businesses inside them. It's a two-way street, man. These situations are not going to stop if people don't care about people. And until we communicate about the bigger issues, we're going to keep seeing businesses getting destroyed like this one, man. People getting robbed by their neighborhoods, cars getting jacked in broad daylight, and everybody pointing fingers afterward. You know what I'm saying? It'll stay the same, man. I'm just keeping it real, man. We always say, how are we going to solve these problems and issues that are going on in our communities and in this world? We say this all the time. You know how? Relationships, communication, talking to one another, helping one another. That's how. So yeah, we could talk about how wrong the people who did this was and how they all need to be locked up. Or we could talk about the bigger problem. And as people are not communicating with other people. And it leads to things like this. And I'm going to leave it there, man. It's your boy, Paul P, man. I love you all. Thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Deuces.